Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Alan. How are you?
Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Let me give you a quick 30-second speech here.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to call only those individuals that we put on a short list.
Sure.
I will make that call shortly after business hours today.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to come up in a moment and whisper to me because of the camera your cell phone number that I can reach you this evening if you're on the short list.
Yes, sir.
We are always pinched for time here. We've all read your application. Of course, you've been before us before.
Yes.
So if you want to give a quick opening remarks, maybe tell us something that's happened since last time you were before us, or
Sure.
maybe outside your application, that would be helpful.
Sure.
So could I grab you up here for a second?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. And if you could keep it please quiet. Susan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for taking time out of your day to do these interviews. I know you all have very busy schedules, so I do appreciate you all doing this. Since the last time, not a lot has occurred. I've done a few more jury trials since September, circuit jury trials. I didn't talk about myself as much last time. I kind of left it open to questions. But to give you a brief background, I am married. I have 5 children. We're kind of the Brady Bunch. My youngest is 10. My oldest is 21. My 10-year-old is daddy's girl. Don't tell my wife that, especially you, Alan, because you have a lot of contact with her. I love my family. The things you know about me is I love court. I love being in court. I love being a litigator. It is one of the reasons I became a public defender originally, was to try cases. Probably stayed there longer than I should have. I did about 6.5 years with the public defender's office. Started out in county court doing misdemeanors. Then I moved into delinquency court, which is juvenile, and it's also circuit court. And then went into circuit felony, where I stayed there until I left the PD's office. I tried pretty much every case, from driving on a suspended license to a homicide case, and pretty much everything in between. When I left the public defender's office in 2010, put out my shingle, I expanded my practice into federal court, federal criminal defense. Slowly expanded into some other areas of law, primarily because I just love the law. I like different areas of law. Now, I never get go over my head. I wouldn't take a medical malpractice case or something of that magnitude. I don't take anything that walked in the door. But some of my clients had, criminal clients had dependency issues. So I ended up doing dependency cases. I got familiar with Chapter 39, and I do a lot of dependency cases now. I still continue to do a lot of delinquency or juvenile cases as well. So I'm in circuit court pretty much every day. And obviously I still continue to do a lot of felony cases. Since the last time we were here, I've done at least 2 or 3 additional felony trials, jury trials.
Let me stop you there to give the committee some time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How much civil work are you doing today, and have you actually tried a civil court case?
Not to a jury yet. I have one coming up potentially on an eviction case, if you can believe that. I didn't know you could actually get a jury trial on an eviction case. I have expanded a little bit more into civil, kind of fell into it, not a lot, but I've gotten more familiar with the rules of civil procedure. I've handled, it's in my application, I handled a civil case regarding a golf resort. I do some family, my wife does primarily the family in the law firm, the family law, but I do occasionally do paternity cases and uncontested, stuff like that. But I have not yet to do a full jury trial in a civil case. I think I'd be comfortable doing it, picking a jury and litigating that case if I knew the issues. But to answer your question directly, no.
Dan?
How much writing do you write? Notice that the writing samples that you provided were spaced apart by about 10 years, and the later writing was very interesting because I noted it was a 2007 circuit court case number, but a 2017 appeal number. So that should have been that was much of a heck of a case. And let me tell you the concern that I'm addressing.
Yes, sir.
If you're in a repeat practice, you may not do a lot of research in new or novel issues for yourself or different issues, not a lot of writing. If you get this appointment, you may be in an area unfamiliar or not connected to your current experience. So I'd like you to press
I do. I was to be honest with you, candid with the panel, I was in a bit of a rush to get the application in. So I submitted the last writing samples I've done. But I do a lot of research. Obviously in criminal, there's a lot of case law out there on different issues. So I'm constantly writing motions to suppress issues like that. I do seem to draft a lot of orders for some of the family cases in our office. I also obviously draft, it could be a simple order in a criminal case as to a bond issue, it's 1 page, or it could be a 20-page order. I didn't provide any of those, and I probably should have, but I do write orders, not every day, but at least 4 or 5 times a month, I would say.
Don?
Just piggybacking on that,
Sure.
you had the occasion to, and I know that you said you pulled this together quickly, but do you have the occasion, not just orders, but filing, comprehensive motions and memoing the accompanying that to let us know about what level of legal drafting that you have?
Yes. So occasionally, if there's a motion that I file that I believe requires a memorandum of law to support my motion, I will draft that memorandum and attach it to the motion. And that does require me to research the issues, draft the memorandum. It does take quite a bit of time to do something like that. But yes, I do. I do memorandums.
Captain?
Yes, what time will you start court?
Probably, I would kind of leave it, I like to start court early. I know attorneys don't generally like that, but I know some of us like to get into court at 8 and get out. But probably 8:30, if that's the consensus, depending on the bench. If it was criminal, I would probably talk to the state and the public defenders. But generally, I'd probably say 8:30. I think that's an appropriate time. If you're an efficient judge, you should be able to get stuff done expeditiously, get your bond, whatever issues you have at 8:30, and then start your regular docket at 9.
Thank you.
Dave?
Can you describe a characteristic of yourself that would make you particularly effective or successful?
I think there's a couple of things. I have been told, it's kind of weird to talk about yourself, Jasmine. I have been told multiple times by different judges that I have a great temperament. One of the reasons I jumped into a race in 2016, and one of the reasons I really want to be a judge is I've consistently been told by other judges, colleagues, that I have a great temperament, that I tend to get along with everybody. Even though there's hearings or trials, I know it's adversarial, but afterwards I shake their hand and everyone's fine, we're on the same page. I think my life experiences before I went to law school also give me a bit of an edge. I've had some real life experiences. And I think, having children, there's a multitude of issues that I think make a great judge. And the more life experiences you've had makes you a better judge, because people that come before you may have those issues and you might be familiar with them. But I think it's the temperament and my ability, I think. The way I look at judges is it's a balancing act between, having a great temperament and having the legal knowledge and the experience to be a judge. And I think I possess both.
Andrew?
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Andrew.
In looking at your application, I see several judges listed: Griesbaum, Maxwell, Brown, Ryman, Crawford, and Mall as references. And I think that when I first met you, you were trying a case in front of Judge Maxwell, who you appeared in front of as a public defender.
That's correct.
So which of these judges that you listed would you most want to emulate? And the other part of the question is, which U.S. Supreme Court justice do you most identify with as far as your judicial philosophy?
Well, as far as the U.S. Supreme Court justice, my favorite was Scalia. I identify with his philosophy. As far as the current judges, I love all the judges on the 18th Judicial Circuit. If I was to emulate one, that's difficult. I think Judge Taylor has a fantastic temperament. And dealing with the litigants and the parties, I've noticed that. Even one of my competitors today, Judge Neighborhouse, she has a great temperament on the bench. So Judge Griesbaum as well, he had a great temperament. He also had an uncanny ability to calm the parties down. If I had to pick one, that's kind of difficult. It's kind of an amalgam of all the judges I've been in front of and taking bits and pieces from these different judges. And so, well, this is, if I was a judge, this is probably what I would do based on what I've learned from these other judges.
Andy?
You had stated, and David, I think, stole my question sheet because this is the second time. David, I like your questions. You talked repeatedly in your packet about your strong work ethic, and you addressed your temperament. Can you identify another characteristic, not that you've been told, but do you feel that you personally have internally, as you reflect upon yourself, that would be brought to the bench that you think makes you a better candidate than the other 10?
Good question, tough question. I think that my vast experience in circuit court is an asset. It goes with temperament, but I've been a pretty calm person. I'm kind of weird. I go on Friday, I go on the DCA websites. I read the recent opinions on different issues. It's just something I do. Sometimes I find something that's relevant to something I'm doing. So I try to stay active on current law, especially new appellate cases that are coming through. And so for me, you know, continuing to learn as a judge is important. Keeping up with the case law is important. But for personal aspects, you've already mentioned, I'm hardworking, calm, as I'm often defined. I treat everyone with respect. I don't think you'll find an attorney in Brevard County or a judge in Brevard County that would have anything negative to say about it.
Thank you. Phil?
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Steve, I got a couple.
Yes.
Number one, I'm not quite sure you're being candid when you say you love all circuit court judges.
There's a camera.
I know there's a camera. I recognize that. You're smart, but not two questions. If it wasn't you that was being appointed for this seat, I'm assuming you know the other 10 applicants. You know,
Except for one. Yes.
who would you pick? If not you, who?
You put me on the spot.
Yeah,
That's a
no.
very tough one. I would have to say probably Michelle. Maybe.
And one final question. You mentioned you rushed this application. Why is that?
Just the writing sample part of it. The issue I had was, and I mean no disrespect, the ad didn't, I wasn't aware that the application period had opened, so it wasn't on the Florida Bar website immediately. So when I heard about it, I had about a week to prepare the application, and they are a bear to prepare, particularly the financials. I had to redo the financials. That's what I'm getting at. I'm normally not like that. I just learned about it a little bit later than I would like to, and I would have provided new writing samples, and I do regret that.
Any follow-up questions? Andrew?
If you were not to get appointed this time, would you run again in 2020? And what did you learn from the last election?
I learned a lot from the last election. Some of it, things that I would do differently. I won't go into all the details. It's a learning experience, and the second time you actually run a campaign, I think you know what to do and what not to do. If I have considered running again, I think it would, I would not like to run against an incumbent or a sitting judge or someone appointed by the JNC, so it would have to be an open seat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Take a 2-minute comment break.